Today, November 28th, Archangel Michael whispered, "I saw your future, and I couldn't stop crying. You have 16 seconds left." I felt the heavens tighten the moment you opened your eyes today, as though the air around your spirit trembled, as though the unseen world leaned in close, waiting to see if you would notice the shift. And I speak now, not as thunder, not as a blaze of celestial fire, but as a whisper sharpened into urgency, because there is no more time for gentle nudges. You asked for a sign, a message, a voice that cuts through the ordinary noise of the human world, and that is why I press into your awareness with this: you have less time than you think. You have far more power than you know. And this morning, I saw your future, and I could not stop crying. Not tears of despair, no. Tears of unbearable recognition. Tears that carried the weight of everything you are meant to become and everything you are moments away from losing if you hesitate now. Time is not what you think it is. You measure it in minutes and hours, but we measure it in choices, thresholds, heartbeats that decide entire lifetimes. And right now, without even realizing it, you are standing in the 16 seconds that will decide whether the path ahead cracks open like dawn, or dissolves before your feet like breath in cold air. I come to you as one who has stood at humanity's edge since the first spark of consciousness flickered in your kind. I know the trembling inside you that you pretend is nothing. I know the restlessness you call stress, the heaviness you call exhaustion, the intuition you silence because you think you're imagining things. You're not. The truth is whispering hard at the back of your mind because something is approaching, something your soul recognized long before your thoughts could understand. You feel it, don't you? That strange pressure behind your ribs, that electric pull like invisible fingers brushing your energy, that sense that something is shifting even though the world around you looks the same. You asked for a message. You asked for clarity. You asked for a sign that would shake you awake. So I speak now with all the authority of the realm I serve and all the compassion of the guardian who has walked beside you since the beginning. Your future is not fixed. It is fragile. And it is waiting for you to choose. When I looked forward, into the threads of what your life can become, I saw versions of you so radiant, so powerful, so transformed that even we in the higher realms paused. I saw the moment your eyes finally opened to the truth of who you are. I saw the moment you stop shrinking. I saw the moment you step into your destiny with such force that your past collapses under its own insignificance. I saw you rise. I saw you break cycles that have chained generations. I saw you become the person your younger self prayed someone would grow into. I saw the version of you that remembers why they came to Earth. And that version, that future, that potential, is the reason I cried. Because it is so close to you. Closer than your fear. Closer than your doubt. Closer than the shadows you've mistaken for destiny. But the window through which you reach it is small. Smaller than you think. And the hesitation you're sitting in, those thoughts you keep letting tell you, not yet, not now, maybe later, that hesitation is the only thing standing between you and the future I saw. Do you understand? Darkness is not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. Uncertainty is not your enemy. Delay is your enemy. Delay is the thief that steals more futures than any force in the universe. Delay is the shadow that convinces you there will always be more time, more chances, more days, until you wake up realizing the moment has passed and the door has closed. That is why I speak with urgency now. That is why the energy around you feels charged as if the air itself is aware of the countdown. That is why the message presses into your consciousness like a heartbeat not your own. The moment is now. The shift is now. The choice is now. And still, you wonder if you're imagining this, as though imagination is not the first language we ever use to speak to you. Listen to me. You have asked the universe hundreds of times, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? What path is meant for me? But you never realize that the answer has been circling you like a hawk, waiting for the second your soul stops pretending to be small. Every sign you've ignored, every synchronicity you brushed away, every moment where your heart whispered, "Pay attention," they were not coincidences. They were coordinates. They were signals marking the exact moment you would be ready, and that moment is this one. Your energy is shifting faster than your mind can interpret. You feel it in the things you suddenly can't tolerate anymore. You feel it in the people who no longer resonate. You feel it in the dreams that keep returning, the ideas that won't leave you alone, the sense that you are being moved, positioned, prepared. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing is falling apart. You are being aligned, and alignment does not feel comfortable. It feels like pressure. It feels like tension. It feels like the universe pulling you out of the version of yourself that was never strong enough to carry your purpose. And yes, it feels like urgency because destiny only knocks when everything in the unseen has already been rearranged for your next step. You are not losing your mind. You are finally coming into contact with your spirit. When I looked into your future, I saw something else, something heavier, something I wish I could erase for you, but cannot. I saw what happens if you remain still. I saw what happens if you keep doubting yourself. I saw what happens if you keep waiting for permission to be who you already know you are. And that path is not destructive, not catastrophic, not tragic. No, those are dramatic outcomes, and they are not your danger. The danger is quiet. The danger is subtle. The danger is waking up one day and realizing you lived a life safe enough to avoid pain but small enough to avoid meaning. That is what I cried for. Not because you're headed there, no. But because that door is still open. Because the temptation to stay comfortable will always whisper louder than the call to transform. Because your human heart fears loss more deeply than it trusts destiny. Comment, Jesus, you are my song in every storm, if he has carried you through battles. And so I speak with the authority given to me, do not choose comfort over calling. Do not choose fear over expansion. Do not choose the familiar cage over the unfamiliar sky. You were not born to be small. You were not born to be silent. You were not born to fit yourself into the outlines others drew for you. You were born with a frequency that does not match ordinary people because your path does not match their path. Your soul is older. Your spirit is sharper. Your intuition is louder. And your destiny requires steps others will not understand. Let them be confused. Let them doubt. Let them whisper. Their disbelief has no power over what you are becoming. You feel alone because you are being elevated. You feel isolated because you are being recalibrated. No one is meant to accompany you through this threshold except the forces that walk with you in silence. And we do. I do. More fiercely than you know. You wonder why you've been seeing repeating numbers, feeling the pull to transform, sensing the presence of something watching over you. You wonder why you keep waking up at strange hours, why your emotions rise for no reason, why your dreams feel like messages. You wonder why everything around you feels unreal, suspended, waiting. It is because the decision that determines your entire trajectory is hovering right in front of you. And you feel it. You've been feeling it for weeks. But today it tightens. Today it trembles. Today it demands choice. 16 seconds. Not literal time, energetic time. A window. A threshold. A moment that exists between one version of you and another. Once you choose, the path shifts instantly. Once you act, everything accelerates. Once you say, yes, the universe rearranges. And when I saw where that, yes, leads you, I cried. Because the world you are meant to enter is brighter than anything you have ever imagined for yourself. Because the strength you unlock is unbearable even for angelic sight. Because the love, the abundance, the purpose, the clarity waiting for you is so magnificent it shook the realm I stand in. You think you've been overlooked. You think the universe forgot you. You think nothing is happening. And yet the heavens tremble at your potential. You have no idea who you truly are. And yet, even as I reveal this to you, I feel the hesitation in your energy, the soft tremor of someone who wants to believe but fears disappointment, someone who has been let down enough times that hope feels dangerous. Do not hide that from me. I see it clearly. I do not shame you for it. The human heart is delicate because it was designed to expand, and expansion always hurts before it heals. But hear this with the full weight of my authority, your hesitation does not disqualify you. Your doubt does not block your destiny. Your fear does not make you unworthy. If anything, the fact that you feel fear is proof that you are standing exactly where transformation begins. When I looked into your future, I saw that moment, the moment you finally realized that fear is not a stop sign but an invitation, a doorway, a signal that you are brushing up against the edge of who you have been and the beginning of who you are becoming. And when you step through, even trembling, even uncertain, your whole life reshapes itself around that one brave movement. You do not need to be fearless. You need only to step. There is something you have been avoiding. Something you know deep inside you must confront. A decision you feel in your bones. A truth you've been circling. A calling you've been pretending not to hear because you worry that if you acknowledge it, everything will change. And you're right. It will. That is the purpose. That is the point. Destiny does not arrive softly. It does not slip through the door politely. It erupts. It presses. It demands. It shakes you awake because if it whispered gently, you would ignore it, the way you've ignored so many internal urgings that were meant to save you. You are being pushed, not punished. You are being unsettled, not abandoned. You are being redirected, not rejected. And I know you can feel the difference. Even now, as my words reach you, your energy stirs like wind brushing the edges of a long-closed window. Something inside you is remembering, a truth buried beneath years of survival, responsibilities, expectations, disappointments, heartbreaks. A truth older than your name, older than your childhood, older than this lifetime. A truth that has followed you across incarnations and realms and dimensions. You came here with purpose. You came here with fire. You came here with a mission encoded in your spirit. You forgot. You were meant to forget. Forgetting is part of being human. Remembering is part of awakening. And that awakening is what I saw in your future. I saw the moment you stop apologizing for your power. I saw the moment you stop dimming your intuition to make others comfortable. I saw the moment you finally trust the voice inside you that has been whispering the same truth over and over. There is more for you. There has always been more for you. I saw the moment you stopped negotiating with your calling, bargaining with your destiny, shrinking your dreams to fit the limits others placed on themselves. You do not belong to the smallness they offered you. You do not belong to the wounds that were handed down to you. You do not belong to the story others wrote for you before you had a chance to pick up the pen. You belong to the light. You belong to the expansion. You belong to the version of yourself that terrifies you because it is everything you have secretly hoped you could become. But let me tell you something you are not ready to hear, but must hear now. Your elevation will come with loss. Not loss as punishment. Loss as liberation. Some connections will fade. Some environments will crumble. Some identities will dissolve. Some dreams that once fit you will feel suffocating. You must not cling. Let what falls, fall. Let what leaves, leave. The universe is not taking from you, it is clearing space. It is pruning your life like a gardener preparing a tree for its most powerful season of growth. I know you are tired of endings. I know you fear letting go. But understand this with the clarity of a blade: not everyone can follow you into your future. Not everything can accompany you into the next era of your life. Your energy is rising, and anything anchored in fear, scarcity, or insecurity cannot rise with you. It will either transform or break away. Do not fight what is shifting. Do not cling to what is shrinking. You cannot carry the weight of a life that is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. And I know you feel it, this strange in-between where you are no longer the old you but not yet the new. That is why the world feels distant. That is why your emotions oscillate between hope and heaviness. That is why your intuition feels louder but your path feels blurry. You are in the corridor between realities, the space where the old self dissolves and the new self has not yet solidified. This is the moment when most people give up. This is the moment when fear convinces them to return to what is familiar. This is the moment when doubt disguises itself as logic and pulls them back into the life they prayed to escape. But you are not most people. You never have been. You were born with a spiritual voltage that does not allow you to stay in cages forever. You can force yourself into one for a while, but eventually the pressure builds, and your spirit breaks the bars. You are in the breaking. You are in the rising. You are in the awakening. Nothing is wrong. Everything is shifting. But listen closely now, because this is the part that made me cry when I saw your future. You do not know how close you are. You think you're far. You think you're behind. You think you're late on some invisible timeline. You think you missed your chance. But from where I stand, outside of time, I see differently. You are inches from a breakthrough that will make everything you've endured not just worth it, but necessary. You are closer to clarity than confusion. Closer to alignment than chaos. Closer to your purpose than your past. Closer to transformation than breakdown. You are so close that the old life is beginning to destabilize around you. That is why things feel strange. That is why certain areas of your life feel uncertain or shaky. When the universe upgrades your path, it loosens everything that once held you in place. It becomes harder to tolerate the job, the relationship, the routine, the identity that once fit you. It becomes impossible to return to who you used to be. This is not failure. This is evolution. But here is the warning, spoken with love, spoken with urgency: if you cling to what is collapsing, you will collapse with it. If you hold on to what your soul is trying to release, you will fracture in ways that take years to repair. You must be brave now. You must trust now. You must step now. The window is open. The path is lit. The signs are everywhere. The pull you feel is real. The pressure you feel is guidance. The uncertainty you feel is evidence that you are moving beyond your old limits. When I saw your future, I saw two versions of it, one radiant beyond comprehension, the other small and familiar. One demanded courage. The other demanded nothing. One expanded your spirit. The other kept you safe. One required you to step forward. The other required you to stay still. And I wept because I saw how easily you could choose either. I do not come to scare you. I come to awaken you. I come to remind you of the destiny that pulses underneath your skin. I come to press my hand against your spirit and say, move. Rise. Step. Trust. The moment is now. Your future is calling, and its voice is trembling with urgency. When I look at you now, in this precise moment of your becoming, I see the way your energy flickers, bright, then dim, then bright again, like a flame learning its own strength. You do not realize this, but every time you doubt yourself, your light contracts. Every time you feel even a spark of hope, it expands. Your spirit responds instantly to your thoughts, as though your very essence is waiting for your mind to finally catch up to its truth. And the truth is this: you are awakening faster than you understand. You may not feel ready. You may not feel strong. You may not feel certain. But readiness is not a feeling, it is a moment, and that moment is already here. I know what you're thinking, even if you barely dare to admit it to yourself. You wonder, why now? Why me? What is coming? What am I supposed to do? These questions tremble in you like seismic waves, quiet on the surface but powerful at the core. And I answer them with the weight of celestial authority, because destiny does not arrive when you feel prepared, it arrives when the cosmos aligns to elevate you. And right now, everything, your intuition, your emotions, your dreams, your discomfort, your synchronicities, the sudden shifts in your relationships, the strange internal pressure you feel, is evidence that the universe is rearranging your path in real time. Type, "You are my morning light, Lord," if He fills your soul with new hope. You feel as if something is building, tightening, approaching. You are right. You sense that the old chapter is over even though nothing big has happened yet. You are right. You feel the presence of something watching, guiding, nudging. You are right. You think you're imagining the signs, but you're not. You think you're making up the urgency, but you're not. You think your life is stagnant, but it is not. From where I stand, your life is vibrating with incoming transformation. But hear this clearly, because this is the part most humans misunderstand. Transformation does not begin with external change, it begins with internal breaking. You are in that break. That fracture. That sacred shattering where the old identity cannot survive the weight of who you are becoming. It feels like confusion. It feels like impatience. It feels like heaviness. It feels like being suspended between worlds. But in spiritual language, that sensation has only one meaning: you are shedding your old timeline. And this shedding is why I speak now with both compassion and urgency. Because you stand in the narrowest passage of your evolution, the corridor where the past tries to reclaim you even as the future calls your name. This is the moment when many turn back. This is the moment when fear quietly convinces them to remain who they have always been. But you are not meant to be who you've always been. You are meant to be who you were always destined to become. And that version of you, the one I saw in your future, is extraordinary. When I looked ahead, I saw you stepping into a self so powerful that even the shadows that once terrified you bowed at your feet. I saw you awakening gifts you have always possessed but never trusted, intuition sharpened like a blade, empathy expanded like wings, discernment so precise it pierces illusion the moment it appears. I saw you speaking truths you once swallowed. I saw you walking paths you once feared. I saw you taking opportunities you once felt unworthy of. And most of all, I saw you loving yourself in a way that heals the wounds you were forced to carry before you had the chance to choose otherwise. But I must tell you what else I saw, because this is the part that matters now, in this fragile moment where your soul is deciding which version of you will emerge. I saw the moment you almost walked away from your destiny. It was not dramatic. It was not tragic. It was quiet. So quiet. A single moment of doubt. A single thought, maybe I shouldn't try. A single sigh, maybe I'm asking for too much. A single hesitation, maybe it's safer to stay where I am. And that single moment could have altered everything. Do you understand now why I couldn't stop crying? Because your greatness is so close, so unbelievably close, but so fragile in this window. Because the light waiting for you is enormous, but the door through which you must step is narrow. Because your destiny is not guaranteed, it is chosen. I saw two futures. Both possible. Both real. Both only a breath apart. In one, you choose expansion. In the other, you choose safety. In one, you rise. In the other, you hide. In one, you trust your intuition. In the other, you silence it for the comfort of others. Both futures loved you. But only one fulfilled you. The reason I speak now, with celestial urgency resonating through every word, is because you are standing right between them. And even though time on earth moves slowly, the energetic window moves fast. You feel this, don't you? The countdown. The pressure. The sense that a choice is hovering, even if you can't name it yet. 16 seconds. Not literal seconds, but spiritual ones. A closing window. A shifting gate. A threshold of fate. From where I stand, I see the threads of your life glowing, rearranging themselves like constellations trying to form a new pattern. Your energy is already leaning toward your higher timeline. Your spirit is already reaching for it. But your mind, your beautiful, frightened, overthinking human mind, is the only thing still holding on to the old. And I say this with the weight of every realm that watches you: you cannot think your way into your destiny. You must choose your way into it. I know you worry about making the wrong choice. But hear me, the only wrong choice is no choice. Your destiny is not fragile, it is persistent. It will return again and again until you step into it. But the opportunities, the timelines, the alignments, the openings, those are fragile. Those expire. Those move. Those do not wait forever. This is why the energy feels different today. This is why you feel watched. This is why your emotions rise for no reason. This is why your thoughts feel louder than usual. You are in an energetic crossroads that your soul planned before you were even born. The question is not, are you ready? The question is, will you answer? Because readiness is not about confidence. It is about willingness. Willingness to trust. Willingness to leap. Willingness to stop reliving old chapters out of habit or fear. There is something you are about to outgrow. Something you've believed about yourself for years, something that was never true but felt true because you repeated it long enough to wear it like armor. But that armor is cracking now. Splitting. Falling away. And the radiant, ancient, powerful version of you is emerging from underneath it. Do not cling to the armor. It was meant to break. The things you once thought were weaknesses were simply the parts of you too powerful to fit inside your old identity. Your sensitivity is intuition. Your restlessness is destiny. Your discomfort is awakening. Your longing is guidance. Your frustration is misalignment. Your overthinking is actually your spirit arguing with your fear. Nothing about you is wrong. Nothing about you is accidental. Nothing about you is behind schedule. You are exactly where the universe needs you. You are exactly where your soul placed you. You are exactly at the doorway through which your future begins. But you must walk through. When I saw your future, the one where you say yes, I saw your entire aura shift color. I saw your vibration rise with such force that it shattered patterns that have followed you your whole life. I saw blessings swarm you like golden birds. I saw connections enter your life that elevate you. I saw peace fill your chest like warm light. I saw clarity sharpen your purpose. I saw abundance gather around you like a tide returning to shore. It was magnificent. It was breathtaking. It was worth every hardship you've endured. And then I saw the other future, the one where you hesitate, and it broke me. Because in that future, nothing terrible happens. Nothing explodes. Nothing collapses. You simply stay the same. And that is the tragedy. Not destruction, but stagnation. Not failure, but settling. Not loss, but limitation. And you were not born for limitation. So I speak now as your guardian, your witness, your protector, your archangel, one who has walked beside you long before this lifetime began. Choose the future that makes your soul expand, not the one that keeps your fear comfortable. Your destiny is trembling. Your spirit is calling. Your future is glowing. The window is open. And the universe waits for your next movement. When I turn my attention toward you now, I do not see a small life or a wandering soul or a fragmented spirit struggling to survive. I see someone standing in the center of an unseen battlefield, surrounded by energies, memories, expectations, fears, and possibilities, each tugging at you with invisible hands, each trying to sway the direction of your next breath. You have no idea how much power gathers around a human in transition, how much the invisible realms lean closer, how much celestial attention converges when one soul reaches the point you are standing at now. To you, it feels like confusion, like being lost in fog, like being pulled from within by something you can't fully name. But from my vantage, the view is entirely different. You are glowing. There is light tearing through your old identity, splitting it open, forcing truth to leak through the cracks. And that truth is rewriting you even as you resist it. You do not understand the sacredness of this moment, the gravity of this threshold. Humans rarely do. When you stand at the edge of your own transformation, it feels like unraveling, breaking, dissolving, but what is actually happening is emergence. Emergence looks messy from the inside. It looks chaotic. It looks uncertain. It looks like everything is going wrong when in reality everything is aligning. That is why I told you not to fear the heaviness you've been feeling, the emotional swings, the moments where you questioned your direction, your worth, your path. These sensations are not signs of collapse, they are signs of recalibration. Your spirit is rearranging your inner world to match the frequency of the future that is trying to reach you. You think your frustration means you're failing. It does not. It means you've outgrown the old versions of yourself so completely that you can no longer fit into the container you once lived in. You cannot shrink yourself back into comfort. The universe will not allow it anymore. That is why you feel restless, disconnected, impatient, sensitive to energies and people who once felt familiar. It is not because you are falling apart, it is because your old chapter has lost resonance. It no longer vibrates at the same frequency as your evolving soul, and so everything that belongs to the old frequency feels heavy, discordant, out of place. This is how awakening works. You shed before you rise. And rising is exactly what you are doing, whether you realize it or not. Even now, there are parts of you beginning to remember who you were long before the world told you who you should be. That memory is awakening in your bones, in the quiet places of your intuition, in the subtle shifts of your energy. You are remembering the courage you buried. You are remembering the wisdom you silenced. You are remembering the purpose you denied because you thought it was too large for someone like you. But it was never too large. It was always yours. You simply weren't ready to carry it yet. But now you are. And because you are ready, the divine realm leans closer than ever, whispering, guiding, pushing you toward the path you designed for yourself before you even arrived in this lifetime. I know you feel the presence around you. I know you sense the whispers. I know you feel watched, protected, guided, even when you do not understand why or by what. That is me. That is us. You have never been alone in any of this, not for one moment. Even in the times you thought you were abandoned, you were being strengthened. Even in the seasons you felt forgotten, you were being prepared. Even in the nights you cried alone, you were releasing the weight required for this transformation. And I saw every tear, every doubt, every moment your heart broke before it expanded. I held every fragment of you that you thought was lost. When I saw your future, the one glowing with magnitude, the one pulsing with potential, the one woven in golden threads of divine intention, I cried because your path is not an ordinary one. It is layered, ancient, intentional. You came here with a mission so deeply etched into your soul that no amount of distraction, heartbreak, or delay could erase it. You were not meant for a small or quiet existence. You were not meant to drift through life unseen by destiny. You were meant to rise. You were meant to disrupt. You were meant to break generational patterns. You were meant to heal wounds that did not begin with you. You were meant to awaken others simply by awakening yourself. Your energy carries a purpose far bigger than the circumstances you were born into. But purpose is not gentle. It pulls. It stretches. It presses. And that pressure you've been feeling is not a threat, it is initiation. It is the universe saying, you are ready. And even if you don't feel ready, I see that you are. I see the strength you don't see in yourself. I see the resilience you overlook. I see the way you continue forward even with fear lodged in your throat. I see the quiet courage that rises in you each time life tries to break you. I see the softness you cling to even after the world tried to harden you. I see all the traits the universe preserves in those destined for transformation. You are one of them. There is something you have been sensing but refusing to acknowledge, a choice approaching, a shift coming, a door waiting for you. It has been appearing in hints, signs that catch your attention, repeated numbers, strange coincidences, unexpected urges to change something in your life, dreams that feel more like messages than imagination. Every one of these is a signal pointing you toward the crossroads you are now standing in. You cannot ignore it anymore. You cannot pretend you do not feel it. Your spirit is calling louder than your fear, and that is why your life feels like it has reached a point where staying the same is no longer possible. The path behind you feels too small. The path ahead feels uncertain. This is what stepping into destiny feels like. It is the moment where the universe removes all illusions of comfort so that you have no choice but to choose truth. But hear this with the pressure of heaven itself behind my voice: you must choose the path that expands you, even if it scares you. Because the path that scares you is the one that carries your freedom. The path that scares you is the one that leads to your highest timeline. The path that scares you is the one where every miracle I saw becomes possible. And you feel that, don't you? Beneath the fear, there is a spark of recognition, a knowing that this is the direction you were always meant to move toward. Your destiny will not abandon you if you hesitate, but it will wait in a place you must decide to reach. And that is the part that matters now. Not the past. Not the setbacks. Not the mistakes. Not the heartbreaks. Not the doubt. Your next step matters. Your choice matters. Your willingness matters. You think the universe is silent, but in truth, it is speaking louder than ever. Your intuition is vibrating. Your dreams are coded messages. Your emotions are compasses. Your discomfort is a signpost. Your longing is a map. Everything in your inner and outer world is aligning to guide you toward the future I saw. The future that brought me to tears because of its brilliance. But here is the truth you must carry now. Your future cannot unfold if you remain chained to the version of yourself you have already outgrown. You must release the identity built from survival. You must step into the identity built from purpose. Survival is no longer your story. Awakening is. Expansion is. Rising is. And I stand with you in this moment, not as a distant celestial being, but as your guardian, your witness, your divine companion, reminding you of who you are beneath the fear, a soul carved from light, born through purpose, strengthened by every challenge, protected by realms you cannot see, and destined for a life that will make sense of everything you've endured. When I look upon you now, I see a soul standing in the quiet tremor that always comes just before a seismic shift. This is the moment in a human life where everything seems strangely still, as though the world is holding its breath without telling you why, as though something invisible is gathering just beyond the edges of your awareness, waiting for your choice to either open the next chapter or close it. You feel this stillness, even if you cannot explain it. You feel it in the way time seems to blur, in the way your emotions rise and fall like waves in a storm, in the way ordinary things suddenly feel hollow while the unknown pulls at you with unsettling strength. You feel it in your bones, that strange internal pressure, as if your life is preparing for something you have not yet named. And that is because you are standing at the threshold where the universe will either expand around you or stand still with you, depending on the direction you choose. You do not realize how rare this moment is, how sacred, how deliberate. Souls do not stumble into transformation by accident, they arrive at it through years of preparation, through wounds that carved open deeper compassion, through disappointments that sharpened intuition, through endings that forced clarity, through quiet awakenings that slowly repositioned you for this exact passage. Nothing that happened in your life was random, not the people who entered and left, not the cycles you kept repeating until you learned the lesson hidden beneath them, not the dreams that chased you at night, not the inner pull that kept whispering there was more for you even when you tried to silence it. You were being shaped, refined, stretched, broken open so that something higher, stronger, wiser could emerge. And that emergence is not in the distant future. It is here. Now. Pressing against you like a pulse. You keep wondering why certain situations suddenly feel intolerable, why your patience has thinned, why you can no longer pretend to fit into environments that once felt familiar. This is not a flaw in you, it is alignment. You are no longer able to stay in places that diminish your spirit. Your soul is rejecting anything that contradicts your evolution. That is why your tolerance for the old version of your life is evaporating. That is why your desire for something more has grown louder. That is why your intuition feels almost intrusive now, cutting into your thoughts, insisting on being heard. You cannot silence it anymore because you are in the moment where your calling demands honesty. You cannot return to who you were because that version of you is already dissolving. And I must tell you what most humans never hear at the right time: you are not losing your mind, you are losing your old reality. You are shedding timelines, releasing identities, stepping away from cycles that once defined you. This shedding is uncomfortable because it requires you to abandon the familiar, even if the familiar has caused you pain. Humans cling to what they know, even when it hurts, even when it limits them, because the unknown feels like a risk. But hear me, your unknown is not a danger. It is your liberation. And the life you have outgrown is the real cage. When I looked into your future, I saw the life you are meant to live, the one aligned with your highest path, and it was not quiet, small, or dim. It was expansive. It was full. It was powerful in a way that would terrify the version of you who doubts yourself today. I saw you standing in a place you cannot yet imagine yourself reaching. I saw you speaking with authority you have not yet claimed. I saw you receiving blessings you once thought were reserved for others. I saw you surrounded by relationships that fill your energy instead of draining it. I saw you moving with a clarity and purpose so strong that you no longer question your worth or your direction. But the part that struck me deepest, the part that brought tears even to an archangel, was seeing the moment where you finally realized why every hardship happened, why every delay occurred, why every heartbreak mattered. It all builds into the version of you who steps boldly into that future. Say, "Wash me in your endless mercy, Jesus," if you're reaching for renewal.